Hi, welcome back to Storytime with Susan. We are currently reading Hank the Cowdog, The Case of the Monkey Burglar. We're on Chapter 8, so let's jump right in. Chapter 8, Drover and I Figure It Out. I grabbed a deep breath of air and began crawling toward him, rehearsing my story as I went. This wasn't going to be fun. I crawled out into the sunlight and gave him a grin that said, "Okay, those tracks. We noticed them too, but we have no idea where they came from. We were wondering if they might be, fossilized monkey tracks. Tracks that have been here for thousands and thousands of years. See, once upon a time when the world was young, bands of wild monkeys roamed across the ranch, and—" I studied his face, and right away I knew that he wasn't buying my story. Gulp. Then he spoke. "Hank, what happened while I was asleep?" I felt myself wilting under the heat of his gaze. It was hard to explain. Impossible to explain, actually. It was beginning to appear that Willie and Bulb had been imposters. Are you shocked? So was I. They had told us an incredible pack of lies, and we'd been completely hoodwinked. My heart sank. I felt rotten. Slim turned to Viola and told her about Deputy Kyle's report on the monkey gang. She was astonished. He uses a monkey to steal? And you think they robbed Daddy's shop? Slim, this is really bizarre. But how did the monkey get past Daddy's dogs? Blackie and Jackie hear everything. Well, the deputy said they give goofy pills to dogs. He glared down at me, but I guess they decided my dogs were goofy enough and didn't need any pills. They watched the whole thing and didn't even raise a squeak. His eyes widened. Say, we'd better jump in your pickup and check things up at headquarters. Those crooks might still be around. Come on. They got into Viola's pickup and roared away, leaving Drover and me sitting in the glare of our own failure. Drover, how could we have allowed this to happen? What went wrong? I don't know. I guess it was the clothes that fooled us. You're right. Who would ever expect to see a monkey wearing a cowboy costume? Not me. It's not fair. They cheated. They really did. They thought they could make chumps out of us, dressing the monkey in clothes. And you know what? It worked. We were chumps, Drover. We fell for the whole shabby mess. Yeah, and I feel awful about it. I began pacing back and forth in front of him. But we can't just roll over and die. We must learn from our bitter experience and come back again, stronger, wiser, and tougher dogs. He stared at me through his tears. What do you mean? I whirled around and faced him. If the monkey gang strikes again, we'll be ready for them. We will? Yes, sir. We won't be fooled by the phony cowboy clothes. And next time, when we see a midget with monkey ears and a monkey mouth, we'll know that he's a monkey. Gosh, I never thought of that. But what if they tried to give us goofy pills? We'll laugh in their faces and put 'em under arrest. I began pacing again as my mind raced toward huge thoughts and concepts. Never again, Drover. Until we break this case, all leaves are canceled. We'll work 24 hours a day straight through. No breaks, no sleep, no rest, no food. His eyes popped open. No food? That's correct. We stop for nothing or no one. Until we get these creeps behind bars, we will be oblivious to pain and the needs of the body. Oblivious. Amblivious. What is the word I'm searching for? Well, let me think here. Ham bone? No. He wadded up his mouth. Bacon. No, a big word. Think, Drover. Elephant. Wait, I've got it. Oblivious. Never heard of it. Until we wrap up this case, we will be oblivious to all the so forth. Viola's pickup was coming back toward the hayfield. Well, they didn't find the crooks. Quick, under the truck. Maybe Slim will forget we're here. We scooted ourselves under the hay truck and became invisible to human eyes and enemy radar. The pickup stopped and 2 doors slammed. Slim and Viola made their way toward the truck and I could hear them talking. Slim. Well, they missed a good chance there, but they're liable to come back after dark. If they do, I'll be ready for 'em. Viola. Slim, please, just call the sheriff. I ain't calling the sheriff. Why? Viola, when you call the sheriff, it ends up in the local newspaper. I can see it now. While Slim Chance, local cowboy hero, was taking his afternoon nap under the hay truck, 2 hay hooks and a socket set disappeared from the cab. Mr. Chance couldn't describe the suspects, didn't write down the license plate number, and never even saw a vehicle, but he did find a monkey track in the dirt. I see what you mean. I'd be laughed out of the county. If Loper read that in the paper, he'd holler and squall for 3 days. I'd never hear the end of it. Well, promise that you won't do anything foolish. I never set out to do anything foolish. It just turns out that way sometimes. Slim, promise? Okay, I promise that I won't shoot out his headlights, radiator, and all 4 tires. I won't take a piece of windmill rod and whip him and his frazzling monkey all the way up to Kansas, although that might be fun. Nothing dangerous or foolish. All I want is a tag number and a description of the pickup. Then I'll call the sheriff, and there won't be any mention of me taking a nap. Fair enough. Well, you said something about hauling hay. It ain't moved. You still offering to drive? Let the adventure begin. Well, driving that old truck will give you plenty of adventure. At this point, you're probably worried sick that Drover and I got squashed under the wheels of the hay truck, right? I mean, we'd found it convenient to vanish for a while, and we'd gone into stealthy silence under the truck, so you might say that our lives were in serious danger. Actually, the danger factor was pretty small. A dog would have to be deaf and blind to get squashed under that particular truck. And do you know why? Because when they fired up the motor, it made such an awful roar and sent out such a cloud of smoke, even a rock would have moved. We moved, with time to spare, and spent the rest of the day on rodent duty in the hayfield. By this time, Slim had other things on his mind besides the monkey episode, such as blistered fingers, aching muscles, stickers in his elbows, dehydration, and sweat-burned eyes, and it all added up to a pleasant afternoon. When Slim is bone-tired and dripping sweat, he's pretty easy to get along with. It must have been around 8 o'clock that evening when we backed the last load of hay into the stack lot. Slim mopped his face with a bandana and pulled off his leather gloves. "I'll stack it tomorrow," he said to Viola. "I'm beat, and I know you are too, riding in that hot truck all afternoon." He sat down on the running board and caught his breath. "I sure appreciate your help, Viola. Would you let me pay you something?" She gave him an odd smile. "Yes, but not money." "Uh-oh, what have I got myself into?" She looked off into the distance. "Frankie McWhorter is playing a dance at Lipscomb tomorrow night." Slim flinched and stared at the ground. "Well, I'm too tired to argue. I guess if you're brave enough to dance with me, I'm brave enough to take you." With much grunting and grumbling, he jacked himself up to a standing position. "I'll walk you to your pickup." She placed her hand in the crook of his arm, and they headed for her pickup. "You look exhausted. How are you going to stay awake tonight?" "I don't plan to stay awake." "What about the thieves?" "Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. Well, I don't know, but I'll manage somehow. I already know I can't depend on them dogs. I'd get more help out of a couple of cinder blocks." "What? Did I hear that? Why, I'd never been so insulted. Hey, just because we'd messed up the first time didn't mean we would let it happen again." For his information, I was wide awake and loaded for bear, and mad too. If that monkey showed up on my ranch again, he was going to get a rude surprise. Slim walked her to the pickup and opened the door. They stood there for a moment as though neither knew what to say. Viola fussed with a button on her blouse, while Slim rocked up and down on his toes and jingled some coins in his pocket. Then he cut his eyes from side to side, grabbed a big gulp of air, bent down, and gave her a peck on the cheek. "Thanks again. See you tomorrow evening." He hurried away. She smiled, touched the spot he had kissed, and drove away. I turned to Drover. "Did you see that?" His face melted into a grin. "Yeah, how sweet." "Sweet my foot! He has his nerve, planting kisses on my lady friend. Are you jealous?" "What do you think?" "Of course I'm jealous. She came over here to see me. I turned my back on him for a minute, and he's kissing her on the cheek." "Well, I think maybe she came to see him, not you." "Drover, anyone can see she's nuts about me. Why, I'm surprised she didn't slap him bald-headed. And if he ever does that again, I hope she does." "She won't." "What?" I said I'm starved. At that very moment, my stomach growled. Yes, I'm kind of hungry myself. Let's grab some supper. This could be a long night. We made our way up to the machine shed, where we found the overturned Ford hubcap that served as our dog bowl. Slim had filled it to the brim with kernels of co-op dog food, and we hacked our way through about half of it. Was it delicious? No, but it would keep us alive until something better came along. That's the best you can say about co-op dog food. Well, there's kind of a plan in action here. We just kind of have to see what happens. And boy, was Hank jealous of Slim and Miss Viola. As always, like and subscribe, and check out my next video for the next chapter. And have a good day.